this is something that I never expected to happen to me, and I never thought I'd have to go through, but I've learned a lot about myself, and I try to remind myself that this is just an experience and I'll get through it.
Alright, so here we are in Baltimore, Maryland. What's your name?
Cody.
Cody, are you homeless?
Yes, I am.
You're homeless? How long have you been homeless for?
About 5 months.
5 months. So tell me your story, man. How'd you get here?
About a year ago, probably a year and 4 months now, I'm from Oregon, from Redmond, Oregon, and I started doing roadie work, working with bands, and we were on a tour. When COVID started, they basically delayed the tour to see what was going to happen. So I stayed here for about 2 weeks, and they told me that it was going to be canceled. So once they canceled the tour, I had a decent amount of money saved. I decided to stay here and see what would happen. As time progressed, COVID got worse, and the tour never started back up. I started renting a room here, and I was trying to find a job, things like that. Wasn't really working out. Things were getting kind of rough. I was really running low on money, and I ended up leaving my phone and my ID on the light rail train. So when that happened, it made things a lot harder for really everything. It's very difficult to get an ID when you're not from the state and without a birth certificate or a social security card. So it put me in a bad position. Once I ran out of money, I started staying at the shelter, and I've been there for about 5 months now.
So when I saw you on the median, you're reading your book. I've seen you before, and I always see you're just constantly reading. You don't even look to see if people will give you money. You're just paying attention, reading your book the whole time. And I knew I wanted to, when I started the series, I wanted to get you on here because you're not even asking for money. You're just reading your book, mind your business. So, how is it? Do you get a lot of people come and give you money?
Sort of. I have an English major. I went to college. I grew up with a good family. Things definitely just gone downhill pretty quickly. But people help me a lot. A lot of people say the same thing. From what I've noticed here in Baltimore, there's a lot of drug abuse and stuff like that. I don't do drugs or anything like that, and I really feel bad about, I don't like going to cars and asking people for money. I feel bad doing this, but I don't really have much of a choice. But actually, people like that I sit and read, so I feel like they help me more because of that. It kind of helps me to, keep my mind off the negative and try to stay positive.
How long do you sit during a day? How long do you stay in the spot a day?
I try to make between about $15. I'll usually come in the morning and make $5 and go get some food. But altogether around 3 or 4 hours.
You said in 3 or 4 hours you make about $15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes more, sometimes less. It depends.
You don't know anybody in Baltimore, right? Have you ever been to Baltimore before?
No. Nope.
Have you met other homeless people, other friends in the shelters or anything?
I have. Where I'm from in Portland, there is a homeless population, and it's a little bit different there. A lot of hippies and stuff like that come there. It's a lot different in Oregon. Here, most of the people who are homeless, they're drug addicts. So I try to stay away from that. Personally, it's just nothing against them, but I don't want to get mixed up in that.
Mm-hmm. How do people treat you? How do the cops or pedestrians, anybody, how do they treat you out here?
It's hit or miss. I actually have a police officer. He every week he brings me food and $5. And then I have some officers, they'll come and ask me to leave. It really depends. Some people, most of the people here, I don't know if it's the neighborhood or what, but people are pretty nice to me here. Even just they bring me books, food. I've had people. Somebody gave me $200 once. People are good, but then again, there's people. I've had people throw water at me, and say negative things. Just, it depends. Everybody's different.
And I see you, man. You have like a constant smile on your face. What do you do to keep positive during the day, every day coming out here?
I just try to think positive. I'm working on getting home. It's hard to do that. I live on the other side of the country, so it's hard to do that without an ID. But reading really helps me keep my mind off things, and I try to, I've learned a lot over the last year. This is something that I never expected to happen to me, and I never thought I'd, have to go through, but I've learned a lot about myself, and I try to remind myself that this is just an experience, and I'll get through it.
What are your dreams or aspirations for the future?
I've always wanted to be an English teacher, so that's the plan, really. When I decided to work with the band, I had just finished college, and I wanted to kind of relax for a little bit. And with COVID, no one expected something like this to happen. At least I didn't, and kind of made things get challenging. But I'll get through it.
Do you have any words of advice for anybody in the world or anything?
Just keep your head up, keep moving forward. At least in the United States, things are so messed up and crooked that you got to worry about yourself, and that's the main thing. Keep yourself happy, keep yourself focused, and things will, if things are bad, they'll get better. If things are good, keep them good. That's about it.
And what's the most interesting thing that happened to you? Whether it be acts of kindness or just being out here.
Acts of kindness around here. I mean, I had a guy. He had 2 months left on his apartment lease, and he was moving back to Chicago. And this was about 2 months ago. He actually let me stay in his apartment for 2 months, and he left his car here. I took care of his cat, and he let me use his apartment and his car for the whole 2 months I was here. That was really nice. I've had people give me $100 bills, stuff like that. Just depends. Really, what I like the most is seeing familiar faces, people, saying hello, and, it's not about money or anything. Yeah, unfortunately you need money to survive these days, but it's seeing the familiar faces and the constant hellos and the smiles that keep me going every day.
And so you say you go to shelters, at the end of the day, where do you go to sleep usually? Is that usually the shelter?
There's a shelter right up the street on Green Spring Avenue.
On Green Spring Ave?
Yep.
Okay.
It's actually the only one that's open right now in Baltimore because of COVID. But if you are homeless or you need, shelter, if you call 211, they'll get you in there.
Oh, okay. And are you still in contact with family back in Oregon? Or?
So I have my mother. She's mentally ill, so she isn't able to help too much. But I do talk to her once or twice a week.
Okay. Man, thank you again for letting me talk to you today and tell me your story, man.
No problem. Thank you.
You've been seen and heard, and I hope to run into you again. And
you know where to find me. Hopefully, I'm not here for too much longer.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you once again, man.
No problem.